Is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com, coming at you with my weekly review of the points I find interesting in Dave Meltzer's Wrestling Observer newsletter. There's more than this in there, but these are the points I find interesting. So let's start off with WWE news. They set a record with Raw last Monday. Sami Zayn versus Damian Priest was the lowest ever viewed main event in the history of the show. Only 1,200,000 viewers. So since the beginning of Raw, the days where The Undertaker was wrestling Damien Demento in the main event, Sami Zayn and Damian Priest did the lowest ever viewership. As far as Fox dropping SmackDown and it getting picked up by the USA Network, on a Fox earnings call, CEO Lachlan Murdoch explained they didn't renew SmackDown because they didn't get enough return on their investment. They lost money on the $205 million per year, 5-year deal they had. And WWE ended up signing with the USA Network for $279 million for the next 5 years. So they're not going to be on network television anymore. They're going to be on cable. So in theory, less access for people to view it on TV. They'll be making a little bit more money. So will that make up for the less eyes on the product? Only time will tell. A WWE documentary was released on Vladimir the Superfan. This is the nerdy-looking guy that would often wear big glasses, shaved head, and a Roddy Piper t-shirt. And yeah, I didn't see the documentary. Apparently, it didn't really answer many questions as far as what he does for employment or anything, but basically, all of his life, he's been spending all of his money on wrestling, and his house is like a shrine to WWE. Roman Reigns versus LA Knight. No surprise to anyone. Roman Reigns won at the Crown Jewel pay-per-view over the weekend. It's pretty, I don't know. I know Roman Reigns is popular and I understand why he keeps winning. But at this point, I mean, I would like to see them bring in CM Punk. That could be an interesting match against Roman Reigns. But other than that, there's like very few legitimate contenders for Roman Reigns. I know eventually Cody Rhodes might win it, but that's kind of predictable. It'd be nice if they had put it on someone like Braun Breaker or someone, bring in Braun Breaker like a Goldberg type character with a big push and have him eventually beat Reigns. But it looks like for now, unless The Rock comes back, it's just going to be more predictable victories for Roman Reigns. Solo Sikoa predictably also beat John Cena. Apparently the story leading into this match is that Cena never wins as he lost his last high-profile match against Austin Theory. I know they're paying him very well to put these guys over, but it's not much of a surprise there either. And then another match that wasn't much of a surprise, which is why I didn't watch this pay-per-view. Logan Paul beat Rey Mysterio. Not a bad idea to put the U.S. title on him with all his publicity and stuff. Supposedly he did very well. He actually carried Mysterio through this match. Apparently Mysterio made a few mistakes during the match and Logan Paul carried him well. But Paul was the 4-1 favorite going into that match. Ronda Rousey is doing some independent wrestling shows. That's good to see. I'm surprised AEW hasn't picked her up yet. I'm really surprised. She's a familiar face, and I'm sure Tony Khan can make her an offer she can't refuse. I'm sure that if I was Tony Khan, I'd be more interested in Ronda Rousey than Sasha Banks. Ronda Rousey has more appeal due to her fame from UFC. And she never really WWE. I don't know if it was because she gave up or what, but she came in with a big bang and then she slowly got less and less popular, it seemed. I think bringing her in AEW and giving her a fresh start might be good. Whether she wants to do that or not, who knows? Apparently, Matt Riddle's reps, who Matt Riddle's been his no compete ends sometime in December, along with Dolph Ziggler's. He's been trying to get a fight with Jake Paul. However, it's unlikely Jake Paul will have any interest in facing Riddle because they want Jake Paul to have more real contenders, and Riddle is from the wrestling world. Apparently, there's some controversy over the Fast Lane that just took place in Indianapolis, a premium live event. WWE is saying it was the highest grossing event ever in Indianapolis. They had announced that it was 14,529 in attendance, although they usually announce 2,000 to 3,000 more than paid with the way it works. However, Paul Levesque, Triple H, noted that it broke the record set by 1992's WrestleMania at the Hoosier Dome with Ric Flair against Randy Savage, one of my favorite matches of all time, and Sid Justice against Hulk Hogan. Sid, by the way, called me the other day. I got to call him back. WWE had said that the WrestleMania 8 had a 1,250,000 gate. However, an audited figure from the Fast Lane reported that there was actually 12,046 fans as the attendance, not 4,500. And the gate was actually $1,181,229, which would put it under the $1,250,000 gate of WrestleMania 8. Eric of the Viking Raiders, 39 years old, had neck fusion surgery and will be out nearly a year. The SmackDown, which was a double taping last week in Milwaukee, or it was on October 27th, had 10,200. Very good crowd. The October 30th Raw in Greenville, South Carolina, 7,200 paid. AEW signed Ric Flair to a 2-year deal where they will promote and sell Ric Flair's energy drink as well as use it for the official drink as the wrestlers and use Ric Flair as a talent as well. I think that's it. He's one of the greatest promos of all time, and he's still in the top 5% of promos. I would rather watch a Ric Flair promo than just about anything in wrestling these days. I was disappointed he didn't seem to be used last week. Hopefully they'll use him this week, but I think that's a great signing by AEW. If you're flipping channels and you see Ric Flair, you'll probably stop to see what he has to say. Former Great North Wrestling announcer Alicia Atout, is the girlfriend of MJF. MJF announced that last week with a picture of the two of them in bed with a cat. So I like MJF and I like Alicia. Wish them the best. I'm surprised Alicia is not working. She's very talented. I'm surprised she's not working for any company right now. She's a great announcer. Bryan Danielson suffered a broken orbital bone and will be out until near the end of the year. He is going to wrestle at Wrestle Kingdom next year. Tony Khan had his most disappointing of all his big announcements last week. His big announcement last Wednesday is that all-in tickets for next August at Wembley Stadium will go on sale December the 1st. Now, I can understand how people in the UK might be excited about that, but why most people in the US or Canada that get TBS or TNT, which, by the way, we don't get TNT in Canada, only TBS as far as I know. Why people would care about that in North America, I don't know. Especially this far out. I wouldn't consider that. That definitely is a disappointing big announcement. I like Tony Khan, but yeah, it's definitely a disappointing big announcement. It's not Goldberg coming. That would be a huge announcement, which I still don't understand why they don't use Goldberg, who's still in better. He'd be in the top 5 to 10% of shape of anyone in AEW. And there's another guy that WWE never really used properly. They could bring him in with another streak and end up giving him a big farewell feud with somebody. I would watch that. I'll be honest, I watch AEW's YouTube channel. I'm a subscriber. There's been nothing this past week on there that's interested me. I've tried to watch a couple things. It just hasn't held my attention. Draslico Carlos Munoz, 32, signed a full contract with AEW. He used to be known as Dragon Lee and Mystico. There's been other wrestlers who have also wrestled as Dragon Lee and Mystico. I'm not interested in the Lucha Libre stuff. AEW is definitely in full force with the Lucha Libre. I like the WCW kind of sprinkled it in there. But maybe it's just a culture difference thing, but I'm not interested in that. I like the hard-hitting, realistic stuff rather than the spot fests and obvious catches of high-flying wrestling. But that's just my taste. I know people like that. Mexican wrestling is huge in Mexico. The October 28th AEW Collision show from Uncasville, Connecticut had 4,079 in the building. The November 1st Dynamite show from Louisville, Kentucky had 4,112 fans. The pre-sales for the December 5th AEW Collision in Montreal is 2,000. December 6th Dynamite in Montreal is 3,700. I still don't understand. While they must have had a good deal to book the Bell Center 2 days in a row, when you look at that, that's not a very good number for Collision. Obviously, it's going to go up, but why they didn't do Collision in Ottawa here? Maybe I'm just bitter because it's my town, and I feel like they're turning their back on Ottawa, even though two members of the Dark Order are from this area. For some reason, blame it on concussions. I forget their names right now, but one of the guys has a mask. But they've done tons of Raw and SmackDowns and WWE Superstars tapings from Ottawa. I would have thought they'd have a pretty good crowd here, but for whatever reason, instead of the hour and a half to 2 hour drive between Ottawa and Montreal, they're doing two tapings in Montreal rather than spreading out AEW to come here as well. In other wrestling news, Great North Wrestling this past weekend in Renfrew, Ontario, had 300 fans of the Armories. The next Great North Wrestling event is going to be February the 10th, 2024 in the Thousand Islands region of Ontario, but it's going to be right in a border city with New York. So we hope to see lots of our American fans at the next Great North Wrestling event. With more information, I'm sure will be coming out about that soon. Jack Kilby suffered a concussion, and that's a shoot. He has a shoot concussion over the weekend, and I won't give away what that's from. But matches from that will be released on the Hannibal TV imminently, and I would like to thank all of our fans in the Ottawa Valley for coming out to support that event. Alex Hammerstone has asked for his release from MLW, which there's really no names left in MLW at this point. Don't blame him for wanting his release. I don't think they have a TV show anymore either. They're definitely the bottom rung of the I don't even know if you could call it a major company anymore. I would say WWE's number one, then AEW, then New Japan, and I do consider New Japan an American one since they run in the US too. Then Impact, which, by the way, Impact is really trying to recruit CM Punk. I think that's going to come down to whether WWE wants him or not. Women of Wrestling gets way better ratings than Impact. Impact usually does a 0.01, where Women of Wrestling can get from a 0.03 to 0.06. So you could even put Women of Wrestling above Impact. And then NWA, if supposedly they did a spot involving drugs on a pay-per-view over the weekend that got them some heat with the CW network. But if they do indeed get on the CW network, they'll have more eyes on their product and Impact as well. But right now, I would put NWA below Impact, and then I would put GCW over MLW as well. GCW doesn't have a TV show, but they have a lot more buzz than MLW. In UFC news, John Jones is going to be out at least 6 months after his pec tear surgery. What's up, Maria? I'm getting back from having another surgery, which kept me in the hospital for a week. I'm very happy to be out 8 days, actually. Who's my next guest? Well, I'm going to be doing a bunch of interviews in November. I'm going to be catching up on my interviews with some big name guests. Congratulations, Alicia and MGF, Maria says. Yes, she has great talent. Valdemir for WWE Hall of Fame. I don't know about that. No gimmicks guy. Here's Jack Gilby, the man with the concussion. Says, watch for several big interviews about to be announced for the Hannibal TV. I know Jack Kilby is working on some big stuff with he's kind of become a protege of Todd Gordon, the original ECW owner, and I know Todd Gordon is hooking him up with some stuff. Jake says the drug spot that NWA did was horrible. I did not see it. I tried to search it. I could not find it. So I can't comment on it. It sounds weird. Someone said Great North Wrestling. Oh, sorry. Women of Wrestling has great crowd vibes. Yeah, I feel that Women of Wrestling is never talked about, even though it always gets better ratings than New Japan and Impact, like triple the ratings at least. Sometimes 5 or 6 times the ratings of Impact and New Japan. Yet we never hear about Women of Wrestling, who has some great talent. And I know Jazz, and I'm friends with Jazz and Rodney Mack, who is in NWA. I suggest people search the Bloodhunter versus Rodney Mack Bunkhouse Stampede match on the Hannibal TV. That's a good match, but a lot of girls from their school are in that Women of Wrestling. Who do I think should face Sting for his final match? It'd be cool if it could be Flair against Sting. I would like to see that. Personally, I would like to see Flair against Sting or Hogan against him. By the way, I'll tell you guys an interesting story. The very first time that Hulk Hogan wrestled Sting in WCW was in Macon, Georgia. They only had a $13,000 gate and like 1,500 people in the building. That's a shoot. That was back from 96, I believe, Macon, Georgia. Hogan against Sting. Possibly 95. I'd have to double check that, but I was reading WCW results and I couldn't believe the first meeting, and this was before the NWO blew up, that Hogan versus Sting only had 1,500 for their very first meeting. All right, guys, subscribe for more news and videos and tons of shoot interview content coming up.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates. Follow us on Twitter at the Hannibal TV